Agriculture has regained its prominence after several years of being the number two gross domestic product contributor behind the extractive sector. The year 2014 saw government investing in boosting infrastructure and capacity in several sub-agencies and generally improving and expanding the sector. 2014 witnessed the largest increase in pump capacity in any single year.
We were able to add about 1,650 cubic of pumping in terms of our drainage capacity. This represents some 16% expansion of the pump drainage capacity in Guyana. With that 1,650 cubic pumping capacity added, Guyana now has a total pumping capacity for drainage of 10,163 cubic.
New pump stations were operationalized at three Friends in Region 2, Windsor Forest, Potentia, and Canal Polo 1 in Region 3, Paradise in Region 4, Pine Ground in Region 5, and the number 19 Village Rose Hall, number 56 Village, and Kanji in Region 6. The Potentia pump was an investment of $265 million, which provides for better drainage of Potentia and surrounding communities.
To have this project realized, I think it would be of great benefit in terms of improving the drainage for canals Polo, in particular canal number 2. It's 150 cubic pumps, and it will be working in conjunction with the sluice nearby. So during the sluicing hours, the gate would be open, and during the non-sluicing hours, this pump would be switched on, and in a way we have continuous drainage. And with that impact, we believe that we will be able to drain the backlands, including the farmland south of canal number 2, and some housing areas a bit more adequately, so that there can be less effects of long hours or days of accumulation of water.
Meanwhile, the East Demerara Water Conservancy's Hope Canal project at Hope East Coast Demerara will be completed by December 31 and be operational by early 2015.
This structure, not just this structure here, but the whole project, has been under intense scrutiny, but also intense criticism by very experienced professionals. And we're thankful for their ideas, and we're thankful for their inputs. But sometimes we all have to come together when we are doing important things that are needed, things that are new. Because Guyana will not be able to stand as is. If we are going to progress, we'll have to bring new things that many of the young engineers may not have had experience with. But so too have the old, more experienced professionals. They have not worked on these things. And what I'm proud of is that the young engineers and the contractor team of also young professionals stuck to a plan. And I think even though we have not operationalized the canal as yet, we see that we have completed a project that many people thought was not possible. And so that I hope now that people have seen that what they thought wasn't possible indeed is possible, that we will have a lot more partnership in seeing the realization of the potential for this canal, and that we have greater confidence in the young cadre of professionals that we have coming up in Guyana.
Component 2, a $350 million bridge, was commissioned in February by President Donald Ramotar. The project had its genesis in the repeated spate of flooding that were occurring in the villages on the east coast Demerara in 2005 and later in 2008, which resulted in damage to the East Demerara Water Conservancy and threats to the communities in its vicinity.
It is those conditions that formulated the idea that we had to do something. We had to do something because we had to be taking the choice, making the choice of releasing water into the Mahaika Maikoni, knowing fully well that it will destroy people's farms. But the alternative to that was having the pressure on the walls break and flooding the whole coastal area. And those are choices might look simple, but when you know that it's going to hurt, some people are going to be hurt. They're not easy choices.
Other infrastructure projects put into operation over the year include the country's first modern laboratory to deal with prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of animal diseases. This structure was commissioned in August of 2014 in a compound of the Guyana Livestock Authority at Monrepo.
The location of the Veterinary Services Laboratory has found pride of place on a sliver of land carefully selected by our technical officers and decision makers as a tract that will allow for the growth of key institutions. The original Central Agricultural Station, now NARI, started many decades ago and morphed into NARI and then NARI. The School of Agriculture, founded way back in 1963, is right here on this tract of land as well. Followed by the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, the Saturday Saw Aquaculture Station, the Monrepo Livestock Farm, the Guyana Livestock Authority, and now the Veterinary Services Laboratory as an integral part of an illustrious family of agricultural entities, all designed to serve the growing needs of the sector, but also the demands also of an important set of clients who wish to receive safe and wholesome food.
This laboratory has since completed testing of over 3,000 samples, including for foot and mouth disease, bovine brucellosis, heartworm, and for hematology. Further boost to the sector came too with the commissioning of two other modern labs. These were the Biological Control and Tissue Culture Labs, constructed at a cost of $300 million, also at Monrepo.
For those of you who are visiting Monrepo for the first time, you would know that Monrepo is the nerve center of the Ministry of Agriculture. Because apart from housing NARI, we have the other sector agencies such as GSA, the GLDA, the Pesticide Control Board, and the Aquaculture Station. The commissioning and operationalization of these labs is indeed a milestone for us in the sector, something that we have been waiting for a while. The operationalization of the labs is in tandem with our agriculture strategy, which all of us know by now is titled Our Vehicle for Sustained Economic and Social Prosperity, a strategy which we are currently implementing. A major thrust of the strategy is on modernizing the agriculture sector so that it can become on par with what prevails internationally.
Government is currently receiving support from two international agencies in building capacity at these labs.
The biotechnology laboratory has also been commissioned, and even though we commissioned it in 2014, we are already expanding it with the help of AICA and FAO, but particularly AICA, which has sent experts to Guyana to work with us. Whilst we have built a very sophisticated laboratory that is capable of doing many things, we have to build a technical capacity. This year we have hired graduates from the University of Guyana in biology and chemistry, and we are training them to work in the biotechnology laboratory.
Meanwhile, there was also the continued push for alternative energy as the ministry launched Guyana's first biogas demonstration facility. Further investment in boosting infrastructure capacity also saw the building of capacity in GIS GPS at the ministry and the completion of soil mapping for Region 5.
It means that we are able to tell what kind of crops can be supported by agriculture in Region 5. We know the total acreages per soil type, and we can superimpose this on the drainage and irrigation map so that we could, for farmers and investors, we could look at Region 5 and see what kind of drainage, etc. This is really bringing science to the fore. In the past, such work would have to be supported by international partners, both from a financial perspective and from a technical perspective.
2014 also saw an increase in crop and livestock production, with rice continuing to stake its claim as Guyana's top agricultural commodity. Rice production surpassed 2013's 530,000 tons, reaching an unprecedented record-breaking 633,000 tons.
Why or how we reached there, I can explain to you. One, there was a little expansion in acreage, where we would have seen the acreage cultivated growing a little bit, 8,000 acres in the last 2 years or so. We've seen over the last 2 years the yields are growing from 4.5, we're now about 5.2, 5.3 tons per hectare, where individually people are getting in excess of 6 tons of paddy per hectare grown. And this basically is going backwards. It's the new varieties and the technological package that was developed by the Rice Board, the Farmers Field School, Farmers Extension Program. In addition to all of that, having the new varieties or having a nice package to grow the rice and so on, you need adequate drainage irrigation.
By the end of the year, Guyana was also set to achieve record production of 500 tons for export. Aiding this achievement was the fact that Guyana secured a new rice agreement with Panama to supply 5,000 tons per month to that country. Meanwhile, a budgetary allocation of $500 million supported the provision of structures and equipment critical to continuing the rice industry's resilience.
The bulk of that money was spent on additional structures at the number 56 rice seed factory. You'll recall that those of you following agriculture will recall that that was one of the ADP projects. It was built on the IDB resources, but it only built the factory itself. We needed to add other things like the silos, etc., a testing facility, a laboratory, etc. And so that was what it was used for.
The year 2014 also saw the sugar industry making a recovery, to the effect that the industry was poised to achieve its 2014 target of 216,000 tons. The year too saw success in the country's venture into new crops. The ministry was able to reproduce the growing conditions for potatoes as well as begin commercial production of carrots. Meanwhile, success in spice production continued, with 2014 witnessing a more than 25% increase in production of turmeric, ginger, and black pepper. In other areas, 2014 also saw an increase in production of all meat. Guyana produced more than 30 million kilograms of chicken and 2.5 million kilograms of beef. Pork production was set to surpass 500,000 kilograms and small ruminant 100,000 kilograms. Meanwhile, 20 million eggs were produced in 2014. There was also further boost to the agriculture sector as the Guyana School of Agriculture and the Port Moran Training Center graduated more workers for the agriculture workforce.
I feel proud today because I've graduated with a certificate in agriculture and I'm the best performer in the class, and I did work hard It was challenging, but I did make it. I stayed up late at night and studied because I want to be successful at the end. And I thank God, and without the help of my mother, it would not be a success for me today.
And it feels very good to be graduating with a distinction in forestry from the Guyana School of Agriculture. It wasn't any easy task, but still, I went through studying hard and passed. It was a nice experience here, and I'm happy.
For the first time, therefore, the agriculture sector, which was allocated $23.8 billion, and with almost every subsector showing expansion, the sector is therefore on target to be 2014 highest contributor to the gross domestic product. Going forward, the industry will break even more records, as during the next year a number of agencies and the Ministry of Agriculture's heads of department will be challenged to transform their role and work together and implement a very ambitious plan for the sector. The 2013-2020 National Agriculture Strategy was unveiled during 2014.
We believe this sector will propel Guyana from a low middle income country to a high middle income country. Perhaps not in this development period, but set the basis for it to happen. We are confident that Guyana will be one of those countries that in 2025 will stand at the podium to say that we have ended hunger in Guyana because of the agriculture sector and because of this strategy.
If this plan is successful, agriculture will then further emerge as an even stronger vehicle for economic and social prosperity in Guyana.